Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Oh, good morning, everyone on the Hawaii coast. Afternoon for the rest of us. It's fine. I'm Johnny Danger. With me is Adam White. We are in the cup, brought to you by drroto.com and Stats Powered. Who are we powered by today, Adam? Who are we powered
DFS
today?
Hero, my friend. DFS Hero.
What? My buttons aren't working. Here. There we go.
Buttons.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I'll get there. Good morning. Good afternoon. Promo code DOC at DFSHero.com for 20% off of their services. We are doing some talk about the wasted management. In preparation for that, Adam, I've cracked a beer already.
I was going to say, apparently we're doing some drinking too, because you are all over the place.
Well, it is the wasted management at the Phoenix Open, at the stadium course. I even wrote the stadium course in there. Are you proud of me?
True. I am proud of you. I'm actually tempted to go grab a beer myself, but
it's a smart move. It really is. But anyways, Adam, man, I outperformed you again in one and done, sir.
You did. It started to piss me off because I am your number one, I think, primary advisor outside of your trusted models on your one and done picks. So we kind of talked through them. Last week I went a little bit risky, a little more off the board. I hate getting like two events in and being like, oh, we got to make up some ground. It's really a dumb way to think about it because at the end of the season, you've taken, 30 players or so?
Yeah. And
to take anybody outside of like the top 25 in the world in any of those fields, unless it's some super weak field, that doesn't even make sense. So I kind of regret Sam Stevens last week. He was in my main DraftKings lineup, which did fine. But yeah, you had Mr. Jake Knapp, who finished hot. You were bitching about him early in the round. I actually saw your text right after I checked the scores for the first time, and I'm like, what's he talking about? Jake Knapp's under par. He just made 3 birdies in a row. And I was like, oh,
yeah. Well, he was through like 8 holes and even. I was having flashbacks from Siwoo from the week before, who was the only one that didn't go under par on the final day, which was pissing me off. So sometimes you just got to crap talk them, Adam. You got to crap talk them. They get motivated. They play better golf for you.
Well, the dumb part for me is like his odds. Sam Stevens were very similar to Justin Rose, and I'm a Justin Rose fan. Like anytime he gets attention, he's going to nut up and he's going to finish strong, like he did at the Masters and winning in the playoffs last year. So when he just took a stranglehold of that event by front 9 of round 2, I was like, okay, Justin Rose is winning this event. Like, it's amazing to see that at a course like Torrey. And I thought the event overall was pretty good. They covered Brooks so much. It's like, good. I'm glad Brooks is back, but they covered him like he was peak Tiger, just out of contention. It's like, not everyone's tuning in to see Brooks, man. Let's look at this guy who's won, almost 20 times on the tour, who's running away with this event. And they showed plenty of him. But yeah, good event overall. I think we had a lot of good picks last week. A couple of my discount picks, including Isaiah Salinda, ended up being a very good value at his price. I think he was like 62 or 6,500.
Yeah. And we have talked about Pearson Coody.
We have talked about Coody. I think Coody's the guy that when I was looking at his data from, I think it was Amex, I was like, well, he's not really all that hot with his approach game. But when you see a guy who kind of finds a way, if one part of his game dips, the other part makes up for it. That's a sign of a really good player who's gonna grind his way through some of those weeks where what are normally his strengths might not be the best part of his game. So love what I saw from Pearson getting up there into second place. I would have loved seeing it more if he was in my lineup or maybe my one and done pick. But it was a fun week. We're moving on to the wasted management, and it is.
Hey, before that though.
Yeah.
Before that, I see Mr. DeChambeau. He complaining about having to play 4 days of golf over on the Live.
Do you want my take on why he's doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Bryson is looking to maximize every dollar he can get. He's become a pretty huge personality. YouTube following is massive. He's kind of rebranded himself. I think he's just pandering to get a better contract, to get a better next contract with Live. Or if they don't give him a good contract, and maybe it's partly because he wants to see whether Liv feels that committed to the future of the Liv Golf Tour. The ratings are terrible. The strength of field, like they just got world ranking points for their events. That's a big step for them, and that's part of why they had to go to four rounds. But there still really isn't like a truly merit-based way to qualify for the tour the way there is on the PGA Tour. There are several ways in that, and the Liv is still trying to find its way. And the amount of money they've sunk into it, I think they ended up something like $2.5 trillion invested so far. I just don't see how it's sustainable. And you see guys like Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka and these guys saying, without saying it necessarily, but Patrick Reed basically said, I didn't realize how much I was going to miss the grind of a 4-week or a four round, cut event on these competitive courses with the best players in the field. The guys that are like the top, I mean, Bryson's one of them, but he's just trying to get more money. That's my take. He's trying to see A, if Liv is serious about this thing long term, and B, if he can milk as much money as he can while it's still going.
I mean, there's no way they make money.
No.
Like the investors and the creators, the Saudis, whoever they are, they can't make money on this. I don't know the end game. We're not going to get political about it. It's just fascinating to me. I can tell you that when they came to what they come here, right? They come to Plymouth last year, and I think they're coming again this year. But they reached out to our brewery and asked if we wanted to sponsor their beer tent. They wanted $100,000 for sponsoring one event. I was like, we don't pay that to sponsor a professional sport team for a whole season here. So you're out of your mind. But,
I think they're out of their mind.
But Imagine Dragons was playing there, so they got to figure out a way to pay them.
God, I've had an Imagine Dragons song in my head today. It's pissing me off. I hate you for bringing that up.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about the Phoenix Open. Let's talk about the course that they're on, and let's talk about maybe next year flying out to watch in person.
That would be fun. I'm going to the Masters this year, so anything after April for me is going to be, it's going to pale in comparison. But I'm down for any PGA Tour event. Let's make the Wasted Management a trip on our calendar for next year.
All right.
Yeah, we're heading to TPC Scottsdale, the stadium course, as you so aptly pointed out.
I did.
We are looking at a par 71, just over 7,200 yards, considerably shorter than last week's course. The par threes especially are quite short. If you compare those to last week, you're looking at an average of like 30 yards shorter than last week's par threes were. Just off the top of my head, it looks like about 30 yards. The famous par 3 16th, not much of a golf hole, if not for the giant stadium seating around that green. Famously, Tiger Woods made a hole-in-one there. I believe it was in 1997. It's a big party. It's a giant party, hence why we've called it the Wasted Management instead of Waste. But the course itself is actually it's pretty cool. There's a lot of risk reward down the stretch. You got a drivable par 4 17th. 15 is a hole. If you go 4 and 2, you can possibly get there. There's a lot of potential swings. So I'm pretty excited about having all 4 rounds on the same golf course. It's a desert course. We've got a pretty good track record of those, just like Palm Springs a couple weeks ago. All 3 of those courses at the American Express were desert courses. Last year in the fall, we had Michael Brennan win in Utah. That's a desert course. TPC Summerlin, Las Vegas, that's a desert. So we got a lot of courses we can compare to. Course history tends to be pretty sticky here. You see a lot of guys that just kind of come back and play well year after year after year. It's very, very heavily favoring par 5 scoring. So you've only got 3 par 5s. They're all reachable. You've got to take advantage of the opportunities that you get on those holes. Makes for a pretty exciting week. And I think we've got a wide range of players that can contend, which leads me really to what we were talking about pre-show. Like, who's coming in hot? Who's coming in hot? I think in the years past, I was thinking about this earlier. We've complicated it a little bit and been like, who is going to enjoy the party atmosphere and be able to withstand the noise and the distractions and all this? Because it's the biggest crowd in golf. That's probably a bit overblown, although I think some guys' personalities, like Bubba Watson, did not like it here. Social anxiety, just not for him. But I think overall, when you think about a couple of years ago, like, who would have ever predicted Joel Damon and Harry Higgs ripping their shirts off on the 16th green? Did you see what Joel Damon did to get into this field?
No.
He wrote a note to the tournament director, or I guess the director of exemptions or something like that with the tour.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote it on a polo shirt and I think he referenced that he was famous for taking his shirt off, but he wrote it on a polo shirt, which he had taken off on the famous 16th green at the event a few years ago, and he got his exemption.
Hilarious.
And he finished top 10 last week, so he would have played his way in anyway. So good
Absolutely
for Joel.
love it.
Good for Joel.
All right. Well, sir, shall we get into it?
We shall. I promise not to get as tangential as I just did in the course breakdown, but exciting course. Lots of players can contend. Let's get to it.
Absolutely love it. All right. Well, it is Scotty or not to Scotty as it was 2 weeks ago, and apparently the answer was Scotty. So is it this week, sir?
Well, the answer was pre-tournament, not to Scotty. If you're going to convince yourself not to Scotty, like the American Express was the time not to. And he went out and won by whatever it was, 5 or 7 or a lot of shots.
Yeah, it was real hard to put a lineup together with him that week. We tried and we failed, and I don't think we would have won money even if we put him in our lineup because the people that we were on to be cheap that week.
I don't know if they had enough value, but this week.
Can you do it this week? You spoke a little bit pre-show. You said, I think I can put Scotty in the lineup, but are you like, let's say I got a $25 lineup and I got a single entry. Can you single entry $25 lineup Scotty Scheffler?
I think this week, absolutely, because it feels a bit like DraftKings is trying to make the pricing super soft to lure some casual players in. And all the casual players don't want to play Scotty, so they got a bunch of guys priced pretty low there in the mid to low 7Ks and 6Ks.
Yep.
So I think this week, I'm not going to say you have to Scotty because there are a couple really good plays at the top end of the price range up here in like the 9Ks, but I'm going to have a hard time not putting Scotty in my lineups just because of the fact that he's got great course history here. It really does test. It gives you a complete test of, are you on top of all aspects of your game? Because you can cost yourself in any area. Putting, maybe not as much, but man, I know he's 4,000 more than anybody else. And there's only one guy outside of him above 10K. But it's going to be hard not to Scotty because he's won twice here. He won his first event here, which, by the way, was only 4 years ago. Dude's got 20 victories. That was 2022. The guy's racking up 5 wins a year. This is a course that fits him. He's going to be very highly owned, but I got him projected at 36. I'll gladly put him in 50% of my lineups. And if I'm doing a single entry, which I do a lot of each week, yeah, he's going to be in that lineup.
All right. Well, we will talk more about that strategy when we get down into the low 7s and 6s because you're going to have to load up if you're going to try to do that. So let's talk about these other guys up at the top. I got 2 different models going, mostly DFS Hero, but I pulled up Pater just to see what they said. Siwoo Kim is number 2 in both of these. You tended earlier in this year, and you have over the last couple seasons, to talk about Siwoo in very specific tournaments. But my man been on fire so far this year.
He has. Siwoo has come out of the gate swinging. I think he's kind of broken that previous stigma of being like a Pete Dye course, a short target-oriented golf course where there's a certain bucket of golf courses that fit him. Dude's balling out. His approach game has been as good as anybody not named Scotty Scheffler. Played all 3 events so far. He's just continuing to play very, very solid golf. I think he's long enough to take advantage of these par 5s. Get there in 2. His short game has been really good. His putting doesn't look pretty. I think his stroke is probably slightly improved from what I've seen in the past, but his strokes gained putting is like break even. That's all you can ask from Siwoo. So yeah, Siwoo is a super, super solid play. If I was not putting Scotty in, if there's any lineups I'm not putting Scotty in, he's where I'm starting.
Probably, and you're not alone there. He's projected to be the next highest owned player behind Scotty. I've got him at 27 on Scotty. I've got him at 22 at Siwoo. So you're not fading ownership much according to this particular ownership ranking. But he saves you $4,000.
Yeah, I mean, $4,600 is a lot of money. So if you were to start with Siwoo, you didn't like the ownership there, and you wanted to differentiate a little bit. I think Ben Griffin is going a little bit overlooked with Hideki, Cam Young, Siwoo right above him. I think he's got as good a chance as anybody not named Scotty to win. He dueled it out last year a couple times in a row with Scotty. Beat him in Texas and came back and contended right down to the stretch.
Love it.
Run with him at Memorial. So
simulators are kind of into Sam Burns. They kind of don't like the rest of this 9K. There's the DFS Hero likes Xander okay. They liked him, the previous start too. It didn't work out so well. Pater doesn't like him as much. But yeah, Sam Burns, a little bit of love there. And then if you drop down to that 8K range, we talked a little bit about it before we went live today. Chris Gotterup has been playing way better than 8,300, and he ranks in both of the sims that I've run up with the mid 9,000 guys. Can we continue to get it up with Gotterup?
I think you can. He's a great value. Everyone knows that at this point. At 8,300, he's going to be very highly owned, probably the highest in the 8K range.
He is.
But I don't see why you couldn't, especially in a cash lineup or a single entry. You don't have to differentiate as much. In tournaments, I'd probably put him around the same as the field has him. I don't see him being like a better bet than Jake Knapp in this range.
Sure.
Honestly, even Morikawa is as spotty as his putting's being. Like 8,500's a little bit offensive to him. Hopefully he comes out and
sure. Well, ownership is playing recency bias hard in this range. We're seeing Cootie, we're seeing Gotterup, we're seeing Jake Knapp, all in that like 17% range. Clearly, they've all had a really nice start to the year, so it's totally not surprising. But I like what you just said. How many times have we made money on a guy who's way underpriced because his putting's bad, who puts it together for 3 out of 4 days and just finishes top 5 because they got their putter right for a weekend? I mean, we've done it a lot of times. As long as the other metrics are there and they're playing good and they have the pedigree. I mean, Kyle Morikawa, 8,500. I would imagine when the weather turns warm here in the Midwest, we're not going to see Morikawa below 9,000 again.
Yeah, probably not. I look at it as a really good opportunity to buy low. Like he's if you're looking at it like a stock, he's a stock that's kind of underperformed for quite a while. People expect big things out of him. But that being said, if you have a spike week and approach, which he is very capable of, he's still one of the best approach players in the game. And if he just gets his putting to be slightly above field average, he's going to be tough to beat. I think he's my favorite pivot play in the 8K range.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, there's a little bit of love for a couple of guys here, but I think they're overpriced. Maverick McNeely at 91. JJ Spawn didn't do what I hoped he would do last week. What about Corey Connors? Another guy that we liked week 1. I got a little bit of cash on him out of my one and done. I took him week 1. 9% ownership all the way down at 7,900.
I tend to like Corey.
Appropriate slide for Connors.
He's not usually a fast starter to the season. He's sort of like eases his way into it. And I meant to mention this in the course preview or the tournament preview a little bit, but last 5 seasons we're averaging around 20 under for the tournament winner. And I don't like him at courses where you kind of have to go low. He's not a great par 5 player, so Corey's just not the direction I'm going down here in the 7K range.
That same price at 7,900 with a little star next to his name as a favorite on DFS Hero. Sepp Straka, ranked as the number 4, value point play for the week at 7,900. Is that appropriate? Are we going to see some Sepp Straka that we saw at the late season last year?
I mean, if you see what you saw late last year, like Ryder Cup time leading up to it, you're not going to like it. He's just been away from the game a lot. He had some family stuff going on, so no fault of his necessarily. I see his price or his ownership, I should say, is projected over 10%, one of the highest in this range. But
I only have him at 8.6.
Not where I'm going. What's that?
I only have him at 8.6 here.
Yeah, I've got him right there with, as far as data golf goes, I got him right there with Nick Taylor and Matt McCarty. 10% range. Min Woo.
Couple of guys here in the range that I like. You said something about Mac McCarty. He absolutely pops in this model at 7,700. I've got him projected at 2.4%, sir.
Matt McCarty got projected at 2.4%.
2.4% ownership.
Sign me up. I told you pre-show that's the guy that I can't keep out of my lineups. He's playing super good golf, good pedigree. Was kind of a darling last year coming out of the Corn Ferry Tour, but disappointed a bit early on. he is playing phenomenal golf, one of the hottest players relative to their normal expectations in this field. So McCarty, I love. You can also look at Kurt Kitayama. He's kind of like you were talking about Rico Hoey, who we'll get to, but Kurt Kitayama is also a phenomenal ball striker. I don't know why we love crappy putters, but if you want the guy who's not,
we love crappy putters, Adam, because if they just get hot for a weekend, nobody else has them.
I think people talked themselves out of this guy. Like he gained over a stroke per round on the field last year at this tournament, and lost 3 strokes to the field on the greens. But if he doesn't do that, he still made the cut. He finished top 50.
Right.
If he doesn't do that, I think he's going to go very overlooked. Finished 15th at the Bank of Utah Championship in the fall. Another desert course. I think he's a very good pivot player.
And he is number 1 value play for DFS Hero. Number 1.
There you go. I'm all in. Like, if you can get a phenomenal ball striker at a place where he's overlooked, I got him projected super low owned. I am all about that. You know who else we like, Danger? This is a very on-brand in the Cup show for us. You got Min Woo. You got Si Woo. You got fans yelling Woo because they're hammered.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you can go right to see. Like, Min Woo he's a very long driver, not always accurate, but I think he's the kind of personality. If we want to talk about any personality that would flourish here, it's definitely him. Like, he loves the spotlight. I thought his tee to green game looked really good at the Amex. He just putted like crap and couldn't get up and down to save his life.
Yeah,
but he's normally a good putter. So if he gets that straightened out, once again, if he gets that straightened out, and he's normally a better than average putter on tour, he has potentially winning upside at 7,400. I mean, you got to like that, right?
I do like that. And I have questions in this range for you, sir. Questions.
Hit me.
Questions. There's a gentleman on here who I have never heard of, and ranks number 3 in the value ranking over at DFS Hero. Hao Tong Lee.
Did you not watch the Open Championship last year?
I did, but I was drinking a little bit.
All right, well, that's that comes on at like 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because they're over in Europe.
Yes, sir.
Do you always start drinking this early in the day? This is crazy.
On a Saturday night? Yeah, man.
Sunday morning, yeah. Today is Tuesday, by the way. I just wanted to make sure you knew
It is Tuesday. It's not Wednesday. We normally do the show Wednesday.
At any rate, I do kind of like what I've seen from Hao Tong Lee. Got his PGA Tour card through the DP World Tour, so obviously had a very good year last year on the DP World Tour to finish top 10 on that tour and get his PGA Tour promotion. But 11th at the Farmers last week, gained strokes across the board. T8 at the Amex the week before. I have not been a believer in his game translating to the PGA Tour, but I was dead wrong on that. 3 out of 3 cuts so far and 2 top 11s in his last 2 weeks.
7,500.
7,500. Hits it high. He's going to take advantage of these par 5s. He's quite long. He's the guy that wears the WeChat hat. You don't remember that from the Open Championship? Everybody? Okay. At any rate, yeah, I don't mind Hao Tong. I may talk myself into him, but...
And how about right at the same price? Friend of the show, the postman, JT Poston.
You could talk yourself into JT. He's been very boomer bust here in the past. He's got like a couple of top 15s and a couple of cuts in his last 4. I don't mind it. I'm just looking for guys who can hit an iron into these par 5s and really take advantage with some eagles. And JT's not that. So I told myself last week, like Keith Mitchell gained more strokes tee to green than anybody in the field last week. A player won by 7 strokes last week. And he outdid him, at least on the South Course, the measured strokes gain data on the South Course. Keith Mitchell, man. Keith, if you just putt average, he'd be a phenomenal value here at 7,400. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you got Christian Bezaidnu, finished T4 last year. Not a great ball striker, not great tee to green, but anytime he has an inside 20-foot look for birdie, you think it's going in. Takes advantage of every opportunity he gets. They're like the polar opposites of one another. But I'm a glutton for punishment, man. Give me Keith Mitchell. He's got the upside. If he just finds some confidence with the putter, he's got upside at top 5 at this thing, which he hasn't done in a long time, but he could very well do it here.
Interesting, sir. All right, let's going down here. So interesting model. Again, we'll get there, but like Rico, we got a guy, P. Raj, who I've liked a little bit this year. Patrick Rogers. He's got a high ceiling ranking in the mid 80s of scoring, but a floor of 42, which says to me more than 50% chance to miss the cut. Do you believe in Mr. Rogers this week to make the cut? Because it seems like if he makes the cut, he's going to contend, or he's going to completely blow up and not be playing on the weekend.
Yeah, I actually pivoted to him, talked myself into him last week. Unfortunately, I went like down to JJ Spawn and up to him from Smotherman.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a net nothing because Smotherman missed the cut and he actually did pretty well. But then Spawn missed the cut. But yeah, he kind of sniffed. He was flirting with the cut last week. Had a good back nine to make it. And then played really well on Sunday. So I like what I've seen out of him. He contended at the Sony, which you wouldn't think is a great course for him. He's kind of a longer driver.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is good, not great. But yeah, what I've seen so far, man, he's just kind of that maybe a late bloomer. He's been on tour for a decade or so.
For sure.
Yeah, I do expect him to make the cut. I do. Absolutely.
I like it. All right, we're still in this mid-range. Couple of guys from last week. You know I was in for Nikolai Højgaard. You know I was in for Mikael Thorbjornsson. You know I love those guys. I believe, sir, strongly in the theory of flop lag. When you're on a guy a week too early. I think you were on Sam Stevens a week too early. I think this is his week at 7,200. Both models I ran, love them. Absolutely love them at 7,200.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk you out of Scram Stevens. I'm just going different directions down here.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about a couple guys I like already in the 7K range, and we didn't even mention Thorbjornsson, who's sitting there at 7,800.
Yeah. After
a very disappointing finish to his third round at the Amex, missing the cut, he bounced back with a T18 finish last week while losing 0.6 of a shot to the field per round on the greens. This might sound like a broken record, but if his putter is just a little better than field average, this dude is super long off the tee. His approach game is very good. He's good enough around the greens, man. I think he's the guy a lot of people are looking at to break out. I still love Thorbjornsson. As for Sam Stevens, I'm probably a little bit bitter from last week.
You are bitter.
It's terrible. I am bitter. I can hold a grudge with the best of them, but not the direction I'm going. I would prefer Davis Thompson, to be honest with you, over him right at the same price there. He's showing some good signs. Very long player, good player on these par fives, pretty well rounded. Not a great putter. That might sound familiar, but showed some signs last week. Tee to green, just putted like crap. But these greens tend to bring out better putting from some mediocre putters like Hideki has won here a couple times over the years.
Nah, Hideki's dead to me.
I wish I would have played him and one and done last week. It made a lot more sense than what I did.
I'm still angry at him. Also, I played Siwoo the week before. It would have been nice this week, but I'm going to take the Jake Knapp finish at T5, so that's okay.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah, I'm going to take it. All right, let's get low, my friend. Let's get low. I'm looking through here. I'm looking at guys. The first guys to pop in the model is the other Kim, Xiang Hong, at 6,800. He's the first one to pop up in the model below 7K. So kind of like that. A little love for XK Bhatia. Little love for Bhatia. What else we got down here?
Models almost always like Griot.
No Griot here. No Griot here at all in this model. Little Mac Meissner.
Mm-hmm.
Little Mac.
I could be talked into Mac in a cash lineup. Like he's good across the board in all aspects of his game, but he's been flirting around that 40th to 60th range this season. That's fine, but I think we've got so many, low price values here that it's not the direction I'm going.
So
how about Michael?
The first couple of weeks here, Adam, the model darling in the low range was Andrew Novak, and he just hasn't paid off so far. The model does not like him this week. Do we pivot to him now that the model doesn't like him?
Novak's been good, man. He finished T7 last week.
Yep.
Great approach week, great putting week. I'm not sure his record on desert courses is all that good. He missed the cut here last year. Granted, he's kind of leveled up. He did finish T8 here 2 years ago, so the spike week potential is there. He tends to rattle off good finishes. Like he's a very hot and cold player. Like last year, 3rd at the Farmers, 13th at Pebble, miscut, and then 13th at Genesis. T3 2nd, won the team event 17th. Like he rattles off some hot weeks back to back to back to back. So yeah.
Hey, how about this name from the past? A Webb Simpson appearance.
Yes, I think he won here before, back in the late teens. But I can't go Webb, man. He's just too old. He's like Happy Gilmore's grandma.
I just remember Webb was like one of like 2 players in Tiger's prime that, you know, stood up next to him during a tournament and didn't fold. You know, he had a minute in the spotlight, that Webb Simpson.
He did. I mean, he's had a very steady, impressive career, but he's like my age, man. You can't just play Webb Simpson. I think he's older than me, actually. However, look, there are some good plays here. Like we talked about a couple of them up there. Mac Meisner, Smalley. I wouldn't hate you for going to Smalley. If you can stomach the volatility, I would absolutely put Michael Brennan in several lineups. Got WD'd last week. Had a greens slope chart that he transferred over to his yardage book and took it on the course, and he called himself, but he got DQ'd. But he won at Utah running away. He's got a great game for the place.
How about this? How about this, Adam? I'm sorry. I'm looking through this model and the hero rank, right? It's like their AI puts all together the points per dollar and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how they do it. But we got a number 16. Number 16 in the ranking down here, Adam, at a $6,100 player. I don't know the name. Can you tell me about AJ Ewert?
I knew you were going to say AJ. He's been flashing, man. Very good off the tee. Canadian boy, who I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of before this season. But he's been flashing. Made back-to-back cuts at Amex and Farmers. He's kind of relying on his putting a lot, which I don't love.
But if you want to play a $4,600 more expensive than the next person, Scotty Scheffler, going down to 6,100 will help that.
It will. However, I have my favorite value play in this entire field.
Okay.
That I want to highlight. What if I told you, Danger, there was a guy who had finished top 25 at this event 3 years in a row.
Okay.
He just won in the fall swing.
Okay.
He finished, I believe it was T11 last week.
All right.
And he is priced down here in the mid 6,000s. On top
I like all the things you're saying to me.
On top of all that, he's got a great first name.
Okay. I'm going to guess it's Adam.
Adam Schenk at 6,200. Adam Schenk. T11 last week. Approach play was on fire. Gained 0.77 strokes per round on the field. Last year at this event, he finished T25. The year before that, he finished, drum roll please, T17. The year before that, 2023, he finished T23. I couldn't believe this when I was looking back at it. I'm like, how is this guy 6,200? And then I started looking at the projected ownership. How is he not projected higher? So 6,200 for a guy that just showed some form.
I've got him at 0.71%.
Sign me up. Now
it's going to be you and me playing him. That's it, buddy.
Anytime I'm overconfident like this, someone else has to notice. Are they just not scrolling down low enough in the pricing?
I think they're not scrolling down low enough. He's sandwiched in the rankings between Kevin Roy and Patton Kaziri. Yeah.
Forget the rankings. We're talking about values to pair with Scotty Scheffler.
All right.
They're going to help win us some dollars.
Tell me this lineup. Just say it. Nobody watches our show anyways. It's fine, Adam. Just say it.
Tell me your lineup, aren't you?
No, tell me the Scotty lineup you put together that made you say, I think I could play Scotty. Tell it for me. Tell me. You said you could play Scotty. You said you could play Cootie with Scotty. How did you fill it? How did you fill it out? I got to know.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it right now.
Okay.
I know the DraftKings frowns upon doing this, but Cootie. All right, Scheffler, Cootie, Schenk. If you want to go down to the 6Ks, we could pop in.
It's not that I want to. You kind of have to, sir.
You do have to. How about Ryo Hisatsune, who's coming off of a second place finish last week? He's just 6,600. So Ryo, R-Y-O. Okay. Then you still have 7,300 on average remaining. So now you can get some legitimate, upside players. Let's say if you wanted to go, we both like Minwoo a lot. Let's say you want to go Minwoo. And then lastly, to round it out, you could go
I missed one. Scotty, Cootie, Shank, Minwoo.
Scotty, Cootie, Shank. Whoops. I've got Ryo Hisatsune coming off a second place finish last week. Very talented.
Yes, sir.
And then you still got 7K left. So you could throw in there. Oh, you're 69. Yeah, I don't love this as much as I thought I was going to, but you can do it. You can definitely do it. What if you went, instead of going Minwoo, you could go Davis Thompson. You can almost get up to Novak too. Like, you can play around with it. Let's take Hisatsune out. Let's go to Mac Meisner. Now let's go upside Michael Brennan. All right. Brennan won at a desert course last fall. He's had some weird stuff, but he's Cootie, Scheffler, Adam Schenk, Michael Brennan, Davis Thompson, Andrew Novak. There you go.
Interesting move, sir. All right, fair.
You can do it. I mean, you can, if you just started Scheffler, Cootie, and then rotated a bunch of 6 and 7K guys that you like in there, there are worse ways to start some tournament lineups.
I'm mad at it. Maybe I'll lock those two in and run 20 optimizers over at our friends at, DFS Hero, where you could use promo code DOC to get yourself 20% off.
You know what makes me feel like we're missing something here?
What are we missing?
Nick Taylor started off like really well at the Sony this year.
Mm-hmm.
He won this event 2 years ago, I believe it was. Yep, 2024. Followed it up last year with the 25th. The year before that, he was second alone. Is he just going to come back and stick it in our tailpipes again because we're just ignoring him? Like, he's right there in the high 7K range at a course he loves. He tends to play well at courses repeatedly. Like, this is the one thing I feel like we haven't emphasized enough.
Let me scroll.
Great putter, great wedge player. I don't know what the model's
got
called,
him at the same projection-ish as Matt McCarty and Colin Morikawa. Both guys that we said we liked.
And he's $7K or $700 less than Morikawa. He's right there, $100 more.
Oh, Adam, I bet you, sir, that your phone died again. 2 weeks in a row, sir. Plug your phone in. Anyways, we got to the point. We said the guys we liked. We told you to go to dfshero.com for 20% off. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back every week for the next 28 weeks. So set your dials right here. Don't forget us. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.